Okay, we're reading today out of As Bill Sees It, the references to meditation. Michael is going to start on page 10.
Page 10, Out of the Dark. Self-searching is the means by which we bring new vision, action, and grace to bear upon the dark and negative side of our natures. With it comes the development of that kind of humility that makes it possible for us to receive God's help. Yet it is only a step. We will want to go further. We will want the good that is in us all, even in the worst of us, to flower and to grow. But first of all, we shall want sunlight. Nothing much can grow in the dark. Meditation is our step out into the sun. A clear light seems to fall upon us all when we open our eyes, since our blindness is caused by our own defects. We must first deeply realize what they are. Constructive meditation is the first requirement for each new step in our spiritual growth.
Okay. Our next reading is on 33, Foundation for Life. We discover that we receive guidance for our lives to just about the extent that we stop making demands upon God to give it to us on order and on our terms. In praying, we simply ask that throughout the day, God place in us the best understanding of His will that we can have for that day, and that we be given the grace by which we may carry it out. There is a direct linkage among self-examination, meditation, and prayer. Taken separately, these practices can bring much relief and benefit. But when they are logically related and interwoven, the result is an unshakable foundation for life.
No, that was great.
9-3. Yeah, that was a good.
Atmosphere of Grace, page 93. Those of us who have come to make regular use of prayer would no more do without it than we would refuse air, food, or sunshine. And for the same reason, when we refuse air, light, or food, the body suffers. And when we turn away from meditation and prayer, we likewise deprive our minds, our emotions, and our intuitions of vitally needed support. As the body can fail its purpose for a lack of nourishment, so can the soul. We all need the light of God's reality, the nourishment of His strength, and the atmosphere of His grace. To an amazing extent, the facts of AA life confirm this ageless truth.
108. Learn in quiet. In 1941, a news clipping was called to our attention by a New York member. In an obituary notice from a local paper, there appeared these words: God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Never had we seen so much AA in so few words. With amazing speed, the Serenity Prayer came into general use. In meditation, debate has no place. We rest directly on the thoughts or prayers of spiritually centered people who understand, so that we may experience and learn. So that we may experience and learn. This is the state of being that is so often discovers and deepens a conscious contact with God.
Page 117, the sense of belonging. Perhaps one of the greatest rewards of meditation and prayer is the sense of belonging that comes to us. We no longer live in a completely hostile world. We are no longer lost and frightened and purposeless. The moment we catch even a glimpse of God's will, the moment we begin to see truth, justice, and love as the real and eternal things in life, we are no longer deeply disturbed by all the seeming evidence to the contrary that surrounds us in purely human affairs. We know that God lovingly watches over us. We know that when we turn to Him, all will be well with us here and hereafter.
127. Persistence in prayer. We often tend to slight serious meditation and prayer as something not really necessary. To be sure, we feel it is something that might help us to meet an occasional emergency, but at first many of us are apt to regard it as a somewhat mysterious skill of clergymen from which we may hope to get a second-hand benefit. In AA, we have found that the actual good results of prayer are beyond question. They are matters of knowledge and experience. All those who have persisted have found strength not ordinarily their own. They have found wisdom beyond their usual capability, and they have increasingly found a peace of mind which can stand firm in the face of difficult circumstances.
Page 150, no boundaries. This is my favorite.
Aha.
Meditation is something which can always be further developed. It has no boundaries of width or height or depth. Aided by such instruction and example as we can find, it is essentially an individual adventure, something which each one of us works out in his own way. But its object is always the same: to improve our conscious contact with God, with His grace, wisdom, and love. And let's always remember that meditation is in reality intensely practical. One of its first fruits is emotional balance. With it, we can broaden and deepen the channel between ourselves and God as we understand Him.
Alrighty, 189. Experimenters. We agnostics liked AA all right and were quick to say that it had done miracles. But we recoiled from meditation and prayer as obstinately as scientists who refused to form a certain experiment lest it prove their pet theory wrong. When we finally did experiment and unexpected results followed, we felt different. In fact, we knew different. And so we were sold on meditation and prayer. And that, we found, can happen to anybody who tries. It has been well said that almost the only scoffers at prayer are those who never tried it enough.
Okay, 202, the hour of decision. Not all large decisions can be well made by simply listing the pros and cons of a given situation. Helpful and necessary as this process is, we cannot always depend on what seems to us to be logical. When there is doubt about our logic, we wait upon God and listen for the voice of intuition. If in meditation that voice is persistent enough, we may well gain sufficient confidence to act upon that rather than upon logic. If after an exercise of these two disciplines we are still uncertain, then we should ask for further guidance, and when possible, defer important decisions for a time. By then, with more knowledge of our situation, logic and intuition may well agree upon a right course. But if the decision must be now, let us not evade it through fear. Right or wrong, we can always profit from the experience.
243. Morning thoughts. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, from dishonest or self-seeking motives. Free of these, we can employ our mental facilities with assurance, for God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a higher plane. when our thinking begins to be cleared of wrong motives. If we have to determine which of two courses to take, we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought or decision. We relax and take it easy. We are often surprised at how the right answers will come after we have tried this for a while. We usually conclude our meditation with a prayer that we be shown all through the day what our next step is to be, especially asking for freedom from damaging self-will.
264. The step that keeps us growing. Sometimes, when friends tell us how well we are doing, we know better inside. We know we aren't doing well enough. We still can't handle life as life is. There must be a serious flaw somewhere in our spiritual practice and development. What then is it? The chances are better than even that we shall locate our trouble in our misunderstanding or neglect of AA Step 11, prayer, meditation, and the guidance of God. The other steps can keep most of us sober and somehow functioning, but Step 11 can keep us growing if we try hard and work at it continually.
And our final reading, 331. The great fact. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. To the newcomer, abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then.